I'm Lorna Miller, and I'm the head of production at 7 Knots Film and Media, and I love my job, and I can't wait to tell you why. What a wedding planner or party planner does for a wedding or party, I do for TV commercials and film. I hire crew, I help find locations, I go back and forth between my client to make sure their creative vision comes to life. I love my job because of the people I get to work with every day. It's almost like we're problem solvers to the world because we can almost reimagine what we want our lives to look like or how we want to feel and really do the work to make it come to fruition and make it real life for us. Working around those types of people every single day is just chef's kiss. As a kid, I was kind of shy, but if I was in a comfortable setting around family and friends, I was super chatty. If I'm gonna be honest, I was a natural leader. I was always telling people what to do, where to go. This is what we're playing right now. All right, everyone's tired of this game. Let's move on to this game. I was kind of always running the show. I was a TV watcher as a kid. I mean, I was like 12, 13 years old watching the Oprah Winfrey Show, which is weird because that was really for adult women. I loved interviews, particularly on celebrities. I loved the Oprah Winfrey Show for that. She made these celebrities seem so normal and human. Some of my favorite work that I've done are documentaries. Real life patients tell their story about how they overcome cancer, hearing people start businesses. I love hearing people tell their stories, and I get to do that for a living. I attended Willingboro High School in Willingboro, New Jersey. In high school, I was learning about community for the first time. And that's where you kind of start to pick your people and you gravitate towards like-minded people. I'm still friends with a lot of my friends back in high school. I met my husband there. That was my first sense of community. I attended William Patterson University and I graduated 2008. I studied communications with a concentration of TV, film, and radio. Communications is message sent, message received, and there's so many ways to do that. We can talk, we can text, we can email, we can DM, we can paint, we can create a song. There's so many ways to communicate. I focus specifically on how people communicate through TV, radio, and film. I think the courses that I took in college kind of planted the seed and gave me an opening into this world of TV production. If I wanted to make a quick short film, I had access to cameras for free that I could rent out like a library book. They talked about internships and how important that was. They talked about the importance of networking, and they also had connections to people in the industry that they would connect the students with. The person who motivated me into this industry the most, I would say, was my then high school boyfriend, who is currently my husband. He introduced me to the freelance world, and I didn't know that you can bounce from project to project and still make a great living. I always imagined working at a production company or a studio from 9 to 5. The benefit of being a freelancer is there's so much flexibility because you kind of have control of your schedule. When someone reaches out to you, you can say, yes, I'm available, accept the position. And typically it's, a couple days, if you're lucky, a couple weeks of work. In between projects, I would be traveling, I would be hanging out with family and friends, doing things that I like, versus coming into an office every day, Monday through Friday, having little to no flexibility. And I made a living working as a freelancer. I started off as a freelance production assistant and then moved on to coordinating and then production management and now producing. I mainly work from home. My favorite part is when I get to be on set. My office for that day can be our clients' offices, hospital sometimes, a surgical room, the Philadelphia Eagles stadium. So it just depends on the project, but I can be any and everywhere. What I use for work mainly is my laptop and my phone. Creating creative decks on my laptop. I keep track of the budget. I call crew and I keep track of who I reached out to, who's available, what their rate is. All of that is through my phone and a laptop. I knew this was the position for me because I was always good at organizing. I was always great with numbers, keeping track of my own personal budget like way back in college. And that's a lot of what I do day to day. And there was just a need. There weren't a lot of coordinators and people who were good with paperwork and keeping everything organized. I just kind of always was good at that. There was a project that I did, it was like my third or fourth time coordinating, and the client was for the Olympics. I felt extremely overwhelmed. It was a 12-day shoot dealing with a crew that I have never heard of, never met, and it was the first time that I really felt overwhelmed and almost like I wasn't good enough. And once the project was done, we came in way under budget. The shoot was a success. And I walked away from that feeling like I could do this because that was a huge job. 12 days. Thinking about it now is bringing back flashbacks. I was scared in the beginning, walked away learning so much, knowing for future projects how to approach things. And I really felt confident, like I can really do this. The hardest part of my job is being social and meeting new people. I'm not the type of person who will just walk up to a stranger and introduce myself. It takes work for me to do that. In social settings, I hate it, but it comes with the territory. And I would say that's the part of my job that isn't so much cool in my perspective, but it is necessary to be a go-getter, to be confident, even when you don't feel like it, to exude, you know what's going on, and if you don't, you know who to find out the proper information from. In a creative space, you find that people let their guards down quicker because we're really doing something that we're passionate about. I would say the parts of my job that are the most fun and rewarding is when they yell camera wrap, looking back and feeling almost a little intimidated, and then everything's done and the project went as smooth as it could and the clients love the final product is like, I wish I could bottle that up and sell it because it really does feel good when it's all done. People like Oprah and Queen Latifah opened up the door because I saw someone like me doing something that I thought I loved or think I would like to do. And that's what keeps me going, is knowing that there's a lot of young Black and brown little girls out there who don't even know how to get started, but have a vision, see themselves working in front or behind the camera. Hopefully I can inspire someone to bet on themselves and go for it. It's okay to make mistakes. And if you're not making mistakes, you're doing it wrong, but keep going anyway. Just make sure the next round you learn from that mistake and try to do better and keep getting better and better and better. When I think of my very first project as a PA versus a million projects later, there's just a level of confidence that I show up with now that I did not have back then. And I think it's just trial and error and just never giving up. Thanks for watching. I hope I've inspired you to find a cool job that you can love for life.